What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, a full, in-depth preview of the wild card weekend matchup between the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Rams. I want to get this stat out there for all of you guys. The Vikings in their last 6 primetime road games, what's their record? They're actually 0-6. So hopefully that ends up changing this weekend as the Vikings will be traveling to Los Angeles on Monday Night Football. But let's get the good vibes going here. And if you guys want the Vikings to hop back in the win column and advance to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, hit that thumbs up icon. If you guys want the Vikings to beat the Rams, I put the goal as 1,000 likes on today's show. Hopefully you guys can blow that out of the water. But coming up, what are the topics discussed? So first off, we're going to go back in time and look at the Week 8 recap on what went wrong for the Vikings in that Rams game, and then a full Rams deep dive. Where do they rank out offensively, defensively? Then I got my 5 keys to victory and my score prediction at the tail half of today's show. But let's just take a look back. Week 8 final, Thursday Night Football, Vikings. This was exactly after the Lions game in Week 7. I thought it would be, I can already see the graphic now. The Vikings win 5 straight games. Then they lose to the Lions and the Rams. Then the Vikings win 9 straight games. And then they lose to the Lions and the Rams. But back in this game, it was a tough game for the Vikings. Stafford lit it up. He went 25 of 34, 279 yards, 4 touchdowns. And this was actually the return of Puka Nacua to the lineup for Los Angeles, where he had a phenomenal game. I remember talking about it on the pregame show, how active are we going to see Nacua? How many reps is Nacua going to get? Well, they went to him early and often, and he absolutely killed this Vikings secondary, going for 7 receptions and 106 yards. But also his running mate, a guy who had one of the best receiving seasons in NFL history back in 2021, Cooper Kupp. He had 5 receptions, 51 yards, and that combination of Nacua and Kupp is so dynamic because they are so physical in the run blocking department on run plays, and that's a big reason why, even though Williams didn't have a monster game, but he did just enough to keep this Vikings defense honest, going for 23 carries on 97 yards. But offensively for the Vikes, I actually thought Darnold played very, very good in this spot. We all go back to that missed face mask call where Darnold has a potential game-winning drive, 28-20. The Vikings are all the way backed up, and Darnold gets his face mask ripped, and he wasn't able, to obviously convert on that game-winning drive. But 18-25, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, and majority of those yards went to Justin Jefferson in that game. Jefferson, 8 receptions, 115 yards, played one of his better games of the season. But a big reason why the Vikings offense wasn't able to kick it into that other gear was the other guys didn't show up. Jordan Addison only had 2 receptions in this game. If this is Addison's stat line Monday night versus the Rams, your season will be over. You got to get number 3 the ball, and we might have to bring back the free 3 hashtag here on the show, potentially heading into that Monday night game. But Aaron Jones, he struggled in this one. Kevin O'Connell was really, determined to run the football, and they just weren't able to do so. The Vikings weren't the most physical team in this one, and only 58 yards on 19 carries. So 4 takeaways I had. I went back, watched the highlights, got a better feel of this game. And number 1 for me, I'm going to say the Vikings could not guard the quick game. And how do you beat the Brian Flores defense? You want to have a run game, and you want to get the ball quick. Or you want to get the ball out quick, and that's what the Rams did to Nacua, to Kupp, over and over again, and thought the Vikings were just too soft in the trenches. You weren't able to run the ball. You weren't able to stop the run, and then the other guys did not show up. There was no T.J. Hockenson in this game. There was also no Blake Cashman in this game, which is, key injuries for the Vikings, but still, Addison, Naylor, Josh Oliver, somebody else has to show up this Monday night. It cannot all be on Justin Jefferson's shoulders and Sam Darnold's right arm. Somebody else is going to have to help them out. But I'll ask you guys this. Who you got? Rams, Vikings, Monday Night Football on ESPN Monday night. It's going to be a showdown, but let me know who you're rolling with. Give me an R for the Rams or give me a V for the Vikings down below in the comments section. Now, we'll deep dive into the Rams here in a second, but first, I got to tell you guys about one of my favorite sponsors here at Chat Sports, and that is Factor Meals. Now, if you guys head over to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50off and use code VikingsChat50off, you guys will get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. Now, if you guys are ready to optimize your nutrition this year, Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, so you can feel or you can feel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. And here at Chat Sports covering the Vikings, I live a very, very busy lifestyle, and sometimes I don't always feel in the mood to cook a full-blown home-cooked meal, and that's where Factor has came in and has absolutely changed my life. But Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle, and you guys can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto meals. Based on a randomized controlled clinical trial with Factor Keto, results will vary depending on diet and exercise, but they have 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week. It's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals, and you guys can choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. So eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/VikingsChat50off and use code VikingsChat50off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code VikingsChat50off at factormeals.com/VikingsChat50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. I got that link for you guys in the comment section and description of today's show. But massive shout out to Factor for sponsoring today's edition of Vikings Now. All right, let's deep dive on the Rams. Where do they rank offensively? Where do they rank defensively? What are their, go-to players? And we got to start with the go-to wide receiver duo that we were talking about earlier, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. Now, both these guys did miss time this year due to injury. That's why their raw numbers don't look as, great as they normally were if they were playing a 17-game sample size. But Nacua, just under 1,000 yards. Cooper Kupp, just over 700 yards. These two are elite athletes. They're elite playmakers with the ball in their hands, and they got one of the better quarterbacks in the whole NFL throwing the football. Now, Stafford, stats aren't going to blow you away. In 16 games played, only 20 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, but still, in a big-time spot like this, you will get Matthew Stafford's best, and plus he's coming off extended rest. The Rams, Sean McVay, they rested majority of their starters last week, so Stafford's healthy. He's probably itching to get back out there on the football field. And this Rams offense, honestly don't even like showing you their offensive ranks because you're probably looking at this saying, oh, man, the Vikings defense is about to have a field day. They're ranked around middle of the pack, if not worse than that, in almost every offensive statistical category. But still, this is an elite group, and I will say this. I am terrified of the Los Angeles Rams offense heading into Monday. I think most people found the performance that Sam Darnold had on Sunday night versus the Lions, we would all be saying, I have more faith in the defense getting it done. I actually disagree with that. I have more faith in the Vikings offense getting it done this Monday because this Rams offense, they are elite. They got one of the best play callers, play designers in the National Football League in Sean McVay, and plus with Matthew Stafford at the helm, throwing it at the Kupp and Nacua, they could definitely put on a show this Monday night. But defensively for the Rams, I think the Vikings have a chance to really dominate this game offensively. Now, by no means are they, an elite defense. But they do have 4 guys who can really pressure the quarterback, and it's their front 4. Jared Verse, Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk, and Byron Young. You guys see their sack total on screen right now. They can all get home to the quarterback. They can all create pressure from the interior, and we saw interior pressure really throw off Sam Darnold this past Sunday night versus the Lions. But I think the Vikings, how do you combat that? Well, this is what we've been saying all season long. Add a quick pass game. You got too many weapons. You got too many guys who are elite playmakers with the ball in their hands to not get the ball out quick. So Jefferson, have we seen Jefferson run a 4-yard out this season? Have we seen Hockenson run a 4-yard route or 4-yard out? No, we have not. Add that into the game plan. I think it's just easy ways to combat this, really, great Rams front 4. But I'll ask you guys this before the keys to victory here. Predict the score for me. Vikings, Rams. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'll give you guys mine after these 5 keys to victory. Now, number 1 for me, I'm going to go the good Sam Darnold here. Now, we just saw the bad Sam Darnold really show up this past Sunday night. He was very inaccurate with the football, sailing a lot of his passes, but also I don't want to just have a 1-game sample size kind of negate what he did for the previous 16 games where he was a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League, or at least playing at a top 5 level. So hopefully you get the good Sam Darnold this weekend, but it would also help him out if the weapon showed up. Because I think who is kind of escaping blame from Sunday night's disaster versus the Lions are guys like Jefferson, Addison, and Hawk. We put a lot of expectations on those 3. I think they're the best trio of weapons you can have in terms of 2 wide receivers and a tight end in the National Football League. They did not show up. 50-50 balls, they went the Lions' way. They did not make contested catches. They did not make the tough catches. And yes, that is a high standard to hold them to, but that's the standard they set. That's what we expect from this group. So hopefully the weapons, change their play this Monday, or else the season could be over. And, one matchup I'm going to be looking at is Brian Flores versus Sean McVay. And I felt like the Rams did a fantastic job in the previous game versus the Vikings. I thought McVay schooled Flores in a couple of spots, but with Cashman back in the lineup, it is going to be very interesting to see how this defense is able to combat that high-powered Rams offense. But I think they'll be able to do a good job. But again, McVay, Stafford, Nakua Cup, they will definitely have me staying up a little later at night than I would have hoped. But quick pass game number 4. This is something that we've been talking about all year. This is something that even dating back when the Vikings struggled offensively on the road against the Titans and the Jags, we were all saying, man, we need to incorporate a quick pass game. Get these playmakers the football. And really, Kevin O'Connell has not done so. The Vikings are a very explosive offense, a big play offense. But I think, and that's number 5 for me, I just think KOC needs to adjust. Change what your bread and butter has been just a little bit. You don't want to completely dive away or kind of get away from that game plan, but just adjust it a little bit. And I think the Vikings, if you do these 5 things, we should be celebrating a victory Tuesday here on the channel. But my score prediction, I think it's going to be a tight one. I think this is going to come down to it, and, I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't pick the Vikings to win this game. So I'm going to go Vikings win 27-24. It's going to be a tight game. You're going to have to go earn it, and this is a rested Rams team who is probably just licking their chops that you're coming to town, but we'll see how it plays out. But I got 27-24, and if you guys made it to the end of today's show, just give me a skull down below in the comments section. Get the good vibes going. I'll use this as a real one roll call on today's program. So hit me with a skull down below. And also, I'm on Twitter. If you guys want to give me a follow over there, at Pat Sieps is the Twitter handle. Give me a follow, and I'll give you guys a follow right back. But as always, Skol Vikes.